Look, I'm going to be straight with you. If you're getting older, there's a real risk you'll slip into bitterness. It's simple. Heck, I nearly went that way myself. But becoming a bitter old man, that's like drinking poison. It wrecks you, drives your family away, and leaves you dying alone and forgotten. But here's the good news. You don't have to be that guy. Stay with me, and I'll show you 5 signs that you're turning into a bitter old man, and, more importantly, how to fix it. Because life isn't over, my friend. You've still got plenty of spark left in you. Here's the deal with griping. It's like a bad odor. You might not smell it, but everyone else does, and they'll go out of their way to steer clear. Look, I get it. When you've been around long enough, you've seen the world shift. The government's a mess. Young folks seem entitled. Everything costs more and feels cheaper. Trust me, I've said all before. But the more you gripe, the more it poisons your mind. And here's the kicker. It doesn't fix a thing. You just end up stewing in your own misery, and everyone around you gets tired of hearing it. You know what I realized one day? Griping is easy. It's lazy. It takes no effort to sit there and moan about how things are. It takes real strength to look at life, no matter how it's gone off track, and decide to make it better, even if it's just for yourself. Let me tell you a quick story. A few years back, I used to meet up with some buddies every Saturday, just a bunch of seasoned fellows chewing the fat. But it got to a point where it wasn't casual talk anymore. It was the same old chorus week after week. Can you believe the new tax hikes? Kids these days have no work ethic. Back in my day, we had real music. One morning, as I was mixing my tea, it dawned on me. I wasn't leaving that diner feeling better. I was leaving worse, angry, frustrated, drained. And for what? Had I solved anything? No. Had I taught the younger generation a lesson? No. All we were doing was wasting time blowing hot air. So I stopped. Instead of finding problems to rant about, I started finding solutions. When my back ached, I didn't sit there whining about getting old. I joined a yoga class at the community center. When I felt annoyed about the lazy young generation, I asked my granddaughter to show me how her smartphone works. Now, she feels proud to teach me, and I feel sharp for learning something new. Here's what happens when you drop the griping. People want to be around you. They come to you for advice instead of avoiding you like a bad smell. A man who doesn't waste his breath on whining has power. He becomes someone people respect. So next time you catch yourself mid-rant about the traffic, the news, or the price of gas, stop. Ask yourself, what am I achieving right now? Is this helping me? Is this helping anyone else? If the answer is no, swallow that complaint and replace it with something useful. Focus on what you can control and let the rest go. That small change, I promise you, will make a big difference. People will start noticing that you're not like other old men, and you'll notice it too. Let me put it to you straight. If you're living in the past, you're robbing yourself of the present, and you'll regret it when there's no future left to fix it. I've seen this happen too many times, and I almost fell for it myself. When you get older, it's tempting, almost too easy, to spend your days replaying everything that went wrong. Maybe your marriage ended badly. Maybe you lost a good job because of a mistake you made 30 years ago. Maybe someone said something to you in 1984, and you still think about it every damn week like it happened yesterday. Let me ask you, what's the point? Do you think chewing on those old memories is going to change them? Is wishing for a different outcome going to turn back time? I'll share a tale that almost crushed me. A long time ago, I had a rift with my cousin. He took something precious from me and never made it right. I thought it was just a temporary issue, but time went on, and so did we. I built up resentment so thick you could cut it with a knife. I'd tell anyone who'd listen, can you believe what he did to me? It made me feel good to be the victim. But bitterness has a funny way of rotting you from the inside while you're too busy pointing fingers. By the time I hit 70, my cousin passed away, died in his sleep. I'll never forget standing over his grave, thinking about all the years I wasted resenting him instead of talking to him. You know what hit me the hardest? The realization that he never felt the weight of my resentment. I did. My bitterness punished me. I carried it like a heavy load while he lived his life. Here's the truth, and it might be tough to hear. When you sit in resentment, you become the prisoner. Forgiveness isn't about letting others off the hook. It's about letting yourself off the hook. Start small. You don't have to forgive everything all at once. Write it down. I'm serious. Take out a piece of paper and write the name of the person, the event, or whatever it is that's chained to your mind. Write it down, read it one last time, and then let it go. Burn the paper if you have to, rip it up, throw in the trash. And when the bitterness creeps back in, because it will, remind yourself, that's not mine anymore. I left it back there where it belongs. Every man has a past, but the strong ones refuse to let it control them. A man who can forgive the world and forgive himself is the man who can look in the mirror at 80 and feel proud of the life he lived. Here's something I'll say to you straight. The moment you decide you're done learning, you're done living. I see it all the time. Men who hit 60, 70, or older and settle into the same chair, same TV channel, same meals, same routines. They act like the world has nothing left to offer them, like there's no more fun to be had, like there's no new experiences worth the effort. But let me ask you this, if you're breathing, if your heart's still beating in your chest, what the hell are you waiting for? Sitting in that recliner, staring at a remote control, isn't living, my friend. It's dying in slow motion. A fellow doesn't age because he's seen too many birthdays. He ages because he quits doing stuff that keeps him vibrant. You know why this happens? Because we tell ourselves lies. I'm too old to start learning the piano. I've never used a smartphone. I'll just make a fool of myself. Dancing? No thanks. These knees won't handle it. It's fear, plain and simple. Fear of being bad at something new. But guess what? Everyone's bad at something when they first start. Babies don't stand up and run marathons the first time they try walking. They wobble and fall over. So what? They try again. And so should you. I'll tell you a quick story about an old pal of mine, Bill. Bill retired at 65, and the first thing he said was, "Finally, I don't have to do a damn thing anymore." And let me tell you, he meant it. He sat on that couch day after day, flipping between reruns and the news, grumbling about the state of the world. A year went by, and when I visited, the man had lost 15 pounds. Not because he was healthy, but because he didn't care to cook anymore. He'd stopped living. Now, here's the other half of that story. Bill had another friend, Steve, who retired on the same day. But Steve had a different idea. He signed up for pottery class. At 67, he threw his first pot on the wheel, all wobbly and uneven. But you know what? He stuck with it. 6 months later, the guy was making vases in his garage. At 70, he opened a stall at the local market to sell them. He was smiling, excited to tell stories. He had purpose. The difference? Bill saw retirement as an excuse to stop. Steve saw retirement as an opportunity to start. So I'll say this to you right now. Don't tell me you're too old. Don't tell me you're done. That's a choice, and it's a lazy one. It doesn't matter if you've never painted a picture, picked up a tennis racket, or planted a single herb in your life. If you want to feel alive again, you've got to try something new. You don't have to be good at it. You just have to start. Get out of that chair. Sign up for that course. Go volunteer at a community garden or the local school. Say yes when your neighbor invites you fishing or when your grandson begs you to try a video game with him. You'd be surprised how much fun you might have. You'll laugh, you'll mess up, you'll probably embarrass yourself a little bit. And who cares? That's what makes life worth living. Listen to me carefully on this one, because it's important. If you've been telling yourself you don't need anyone or that you're better off alone, you're lying to yourself. Loneliness isn't strength. It's the slowest kind of death a man can face. I understand how it happens. Somewhere along the way, life starts to wear you down. Maybe people disappointed you. Your kids stopped calling, or you lost friends because of disagreements. Maybe someone hurt you, said something years ago that's still gnawing at you. So you pull back. You put up walls. You think, well, I don't need them anyway. But let me tell you something. We all need people. Even the strongest man in the world needs someone to talk to, someone to laugh with, someone to lean on when life knocks him flat on his back. You think isolating yourself is keeping you safe from disappointment, but all it's doing is keeping you miserable. You're pushing away the people who matter most, and one day you'll wake up and wonder why no one's around anymore. That's a hard pill to swallow, but let me make it real for you. There was this guy down the street, goes by the name of Fred. Good man, but bitter as hell. After his big career setback, he closed himself off from everyone. His kids tried to visit. He barely said 3 words to them. The neighbors invited him to barbecues. He said he wasn't in the mood. By the time he was 75, his house felt like a fortress, blinds closed, doors locked. One day, I sat him down and asked, "Fred, what are you afraid of?" And you know what he said? He wasn't afraid of anything. He just didn't think anyone cared anymore. And that's when it hit me. He was wrong. His kids still cared. His neighbors still wanted him around. But he was the one keeping them out. He built his own prison, brick by brick. So here's what I want to say to you. Stop pushing people away. If you're holding on to grudges, age, let them go. If you think no one cares, give them a reason to. You'd be amazed how people respond when you open the door instead of shutting it in their faces. Call your kid today, not tomorrow, not next week. Today, invite your old friend over for coffee, even if you haven't spoken in years. Apologize if you need to. Forgive if you need to. But don't let your pride keep you lonely. Pride doesn't keep you warm at night. Relationships do. And for the love of God, don't wait for people to come to you. Be the one to reach out. Life is too short to let relationships rot because you were too stubborn to pick up the phone. Listen, I'll leave you with this. When it's all said and done, you won't wish you spent more time alone, locked inside your own bitterness. You'll wish you laughed more, hugged more, shared more memories with the people who cared about you. And trust me, there are people who care about you. You just need to let them in. Here's a hard truth. When you stop taking care of yourself, you're telling the world, I don't matter anymore. And worse, you start believing it. I know what you might be thinking. What's the point? I'm already old. My body's already breaking down. I'm not impressing anyone anymore. And that's exactly the kind of thinking that drags you into the gutter. Here's the truth. You don't take care of yourself to impress anyone else. You do it because you respect yourself. You do it because it's how you show up for your own life. But I see it all the time. A man hits his later years and starts letting himself slip. He stops shaving, stops caring about how he looks, stops moving his body unless he has to. Next thing you know, his days are spent in pajamas stained with breakfast and a body that hurts because he hasn't done more than hobble from the chair to the fridge. And let me tell you, there's no sadder sight than a man who's given up on himself. I'm not talking about vanity here. I'm not saying you need to have a six-pack at 80 or dress like you're heading to a fashion show. What I'm saying is, every time you decide to let yourself go, you're making a little decision. A decision to fade away instead of show up. The way you treat yourself matters because it tells your body and your mind, I'm still in this fight. Let me give you a quick story. A pal of mine, goes by the name of Henry, solid guy with a sharp wit, began to neglect himself after he retired. You could see it happen slowly. He quit hitting the gym, figured there was no reason to stay fit anymore. Stopped walking every morning like he used to, said his legs hurt too much. Started slouching around his house. Hadn't been to the barber shop in months. I watched Henry shrink, not just physically but mentally. He went from cracking jokes to sighing his way through conversations. One day, I said to him, Henry, what's going on? You look like you've given up. He shrugged and said, what's left for me to care about? I'm old. And that right there. That's the lie so many men tell themselves. I'm old, so it's over. But no one told you to hang up your gloves. You're still here. You're alive. And every morning you wake up, that's another chance to take care of the only body you've got. So I gave Henry a push. I told him, start small. Go get a haircut. Cook yourself a decent dinner tonight instead of eating out of a box. Walk around the damn block. It doesn't have to be a marathon. And he did. It didn't happen overnight, but little by little, Henry came back to life. A year later, the man looked 5 years younger. Why? Because he started treating himself like someone worth taking care of. And he was. Let me tell you something. When you stop taking care of yourself, you're not just hurting yourself. You're hurting the people around you who care about you. Your kids, your friends, your grandkids, they look up to you. They don't want to watch you give up. They don't want to see you disappear right in front of them. They want to see you strong. They want to see you proud of who you are. So what does taking care of yourself look like? It's eating real food instead of junk, even if you're just cooking for one. It's moving your body every day. Go for a walk, stretch those stiff knees, get yourself a little exercise. It's taking care of how you look, get that haircut, shave your face, put on a clean shirt in the morning, even if you're just sitting at home. Because when you do those things, you're saying to yourself and to the world, I'm still here. I matter. And if you're sitting there thinking, it's too late for me, I want you to hear this loud and clear. It's never too late. I've seen men in their 70s and 80s make a change and turn their lives around. I've seen men go from falling apart to standing tall just because they decided they were worth the effort. The moment you decide to take care of yourself, even just a little, is the moment you start living again. It's not about turning back the clock. It's about making the most of the time you've got left. And trust me, when you start to look after yourself, you'll feel the difference. You'll move better. You'll think clearer. You'll look in a mirror and see a man who's still in a fight. And let me tell you, that's a man worth being proud of. Here's the bottom line, fellas. Life doesn't owe us anything, but we don't owe life our bitterness either. You've got one shot at being the man your kids admire, your friends love, and that you're proud of when your time comes. You see those 5 signs creeping in? Fight back. Take action. Because bitterness might seem easier today, but in the long run, it costs you everything. You're not dead yet, so don't act like it. Be strong. Be grateful. Be the old man everyone loves, not the one they tolerate.